welcomes to Mission Debrief. We've played every mission of the mainline Halo video games, and now we're playing every mission from the rest of the games in the franchise in chronological order. Each episode will be discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Relic Interior mission from Halo Wars on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Relic Approach mission from Halo Wars. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krysta Brown.
Hey, look, it's a new, old, it's an Arbiter.
There's more than one?
What?
That's not my Arbiter.
I didn't get the hint when I saw the, thing in Halo 2 with the coffins.
Oh, right. That's right. Another Arbiter. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But first, let's recap where we were. Last mission was Alpha Base. Harvest is finally back under UNSC control after a brutal 5-year war with the Covenant. The Spirit of Fire, led by Captain James Cutter, was sent to rescue the survivors of the Prophecy and discovered yet another Covenant invasion. Sergeant Forge was ordered to gather the remaining troops that had evacuated Alpha Base and retake the strategic position. This mission, Relic Approach, we're now in Alpha Base. Alpha Base must get up and running as quickly as possible so the UNSC can remove the Covenant's presence from a mysterious location on Harvest. While Sergeant Forge scouts the area, Captain Cutter approves Professor Anders' deployment onto the surface once the site is secured. However, the Prophet of Regret and Arbiter have other plans in mind. The date of the game is February 4th, 2531. All right, so we're going to do, because again, it's RTS time. We've structured these shows a little bit differently. So a lot of the story is pretty much just given in the cinematics for all these. So we're going to cover off on the cinematic right away, provide some kind of thoughts on what's happening in the story, and then we'll kind of dive into what we're actually doing from a gameplay standpoint within the mission, and provide you as many details and whatnot as we can along the way. So, David, why don't you take us through this opening cinematic? What's going on in this beautiful eye candy thing?
Yes, man. Blur cinematics are so good, even old ones.
I know.
So the cinematic starts off in a snowy tundra wasteland kind of area. You see Sergeant Forge kind of belly crawl his way up to an edge, and you can see straight away there's a lot of Covenant all around this kind of relic area, shall we say. He looks through his binoculars and he can kind of see all these elites kind of walking around, and the cutscene moves down to the ground and we get introduced to the character of the Arbiter, which is a familiar looking armor, but not our Arbiter. We have a new character here who is Ripami. Is that what you said?
Ripa Morami.
Ripa Morami. And he is very eager to get inside and the relic, but he has a conversation here with one of his underlings, another Sangheli, and he says, we must get into it. We must get into it now. We can no longer delay. His underling pretty much says, what about the does he call it infection? I can't remember.
Calls it, yeah.
Yeah, he says, what if the infection, what if it profanes the relic, whatever.
The word infection
pretty much,
in the Halo universe only means one thing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much foreshadowing what's going to happen next. So essentially he says, I do not care, open it. So
but they could be referring to infection as humanity, maybe.
No.
I guess maybe that's implied, but I don't think the Flood is a reveal for this game in terms of everybody knows about it. But anyway, obviously the Covenant know more than the humans do about what's happening on this planet, and they open the doors and you see all these kind of grunts and stuff. It's kind of cool, and you go inside. Forge kind of figures out that what's kind of going on, and you have a cool moment of the Arbiter's one shot as he turns around and looks up at the cliffs, and
his mouth just hanging, drooping
so
at his
good.
fangs.
Fearsome looking.
The elites look so scary. I love it.
They do look really good. So you get the great shot of the silver armor of the Arbiter, and he kind of just turns away and walks off towards the main door entrance.
Do we know if that's the same? Is that the same Arbiter armor that
it's supposed to
Halo 2? It is supposed to be.
Every Arbiter wears the same armor.
Okay.
Yeah. It's supposed to be hand me down kind of stuff.
But we've seen like Arbiter's fancy gold armor recently, so.
Well, I mean, he's not technically the Arbiter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's more a return to the more traditional. I think there's lower reasons why it's gold now and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyhow, fade to black, and then we get the Spirit of Fire in space, floating around, looking amazing. You go to the observation deck, which Anders has pretty much taken over as her lab, as Cutter comments, and she says it likes the view. It adds perspective to her work.
I gotta say, I would love to take a nap on the observation deck.
It's so cool.
It looks so peaceful, like literally sleeping under the stars.
Yep.
Yeah. Essentially, she's just saying, the rundown is that she's fascinated by this site. This is obviously not Covenant. It's a different kind of alien site. You don't really know what's going on just yet. She's cagey in the same way you get the impression that Halsey is, where she's not telling everything that she knows. And she pretty much just wants to get down there. She's super eager. I can't really remember what I said. He pretty much just tells her to hold on until the site's cleared. I think is.
Well, he says that he approves the mission, but yeah, he's like he just wants her to be careful. He's like kind of being a dad figure here. Cutter dad.
Pretty much.
Well, because like the scientists are basically civilians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You don't send civilians into a war zone.
And Forge was hesitant. He's like, what are you doing here? You're not coming down here before, right? So they're all kind of aware of what the mission that's going on, but they haven't really told the player, us, exactly, what's going on right now.
Yeah. So we get another fade to black, and we're back down at the site again. You can see all the kind of Covenant activity outside. The doors are wide open. We get to see the Prophet of Regret.
Regret, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The old man.
And he's talking.
Old man.
He's talking to the Arbor, and he's fascinated by like the discovery of what he has here. They don't reveal it to the player, but what's happening. He says you've made excellent progress. Everything that we've learned is great. Then he tells him to blow it up.
Good job. Destroy it.
What? Yeah. So that
it's
the
like
humans
your
can't have it.
Kid makes you like a bracelet or something. You're like, that's wonderful. Throw it in the fire.
Yeah. So the cutscene just shows like Grunts and Elise just setting charges and stuff like that, and the Arbiter is very resistant to this, but he kind of gets overruled, essentially. And then it just fades to black and the mission begins.
So what do you think about seeing good old Prophet of Regret? Bring back memories.
Cool.
I mean, the Prophets were always a really interesting part of the Covenant, in that they're super super politically charged, so they have that kind of way of talking that's like getting you to do what they want you to do and stuff like that. And they were always interesting heads of the Covenant in that like they're not warriors. They just kind of sit back and let everyone do everything, and just kind of like they don't even really strategize. They're just like, do this, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, because it's the will of the gods, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's them that are either interpreting or misinterpreting, the Forerunner.
They're kind of like
and
they're interpreting they're basically interpreting a Bible to be solely beneficial to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like every other part that's like you should treat others equally and be nice to everyone. They're like, I think it means I think it means we should be mean to everyone.
Right.
I think being nice to everyone just means being in the Covenant.
Yeah, right. It's just a weird dialect, right? Don't worry about it.
It's nuanced.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to see them. So, from if we think back to playing through the games, even in chronological order, but I guess in release order, this is after ODST. We've just seen the Arbiter, like we've teamed up with the Arbiter, but this is a different Arbiter. And then, we killed Regret back in Halo 2. And now we're seeing the Prophet of Regret here. It's just interesting to be telling these stories that happen, 20 years before Halo CE, to see what these characters are doing before all that other stuff happens that we experienced.
Honestly, I think it helps.
Callback.
I think it helps ground you in the time period, though. Because I feel like if it had nothing to do with the main cast, it would be very easy to just put it anywhere in the timeline. Yeah. But when you see characters that have, like, you've never met or have already died, it's like, okay, This is way, way in the past.
Yeah, and 20 years isn't even that far back, but it is.
It is when you're in war.
Yeah, exactly. But seeing the Arbiter just made me feel, I don't know, uncomfortable, I guess, because you're like, wait a minute, he's bad, but then he was good, and this is a completely different guy.
Yeah.
So it's a little confusing if you're not, plugged into everything that's going on, or as much as we are. But
yeah,
it's a cool callback.
It's cool when you think about it then as well. Like, this is the Arbiter, and the game actually, story sets him up as like, he's actually a terrible being. Do you know what I mean? He's cruel, he's whatever, he's vicious. But when you think about it, the Arbiter that we know and love is at this moment in lore murdering millions of humans, destroying planets,
exactly.
leader of a massive fleet. Do you know what I mean? So like, he's doing the bad guy stuff off screen. So
and you kind of like, through as the story progresses, you feel the difference between this Arbiter and Thiel, just down to nature, intelligence, and how they go about things. It's they're very different. They're very different beings from one another.
Yep. And there is a little backstory. I mentioned it last episode in Halo Wars Genesis of Ripa. So you can read a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm not remembering any other.
Does it tell you what he did to become the Arbiter?
Yeah.
I would be curious to know that. Does it? That's cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Don't think I ever read Genesis.
Yeah, give it a read. It's brief. It's just a couple of comic pages, but it's interesting. Okay, so now let's get into the mission. So we've gotten the background. We know what they're after. We know they've gotten what they want, and they're going to blow it up. So now let's go try to stop them from blowing up is really what we're going to do. The objectives that are laid out for us are so we have to get we finally get a build, right? We finally we have a fire base. Let's build it up. Let's play some RTS. This is like true RTS stuff. So we're going to do just kind of a really brief, basic tutorial here at the beginning. But then we actually get into some good stuff towards the end of the mission. First objective is to get Alpha Base online, build a supply pad, build a barracks, train 5 Marines, and then after you do that, then they open the gates. And then you have fight your way to the structure in the ice, which is what they're going to blow up. You have enter the structure and then destroy the detonator. The optional objectives are destroy the Covenant base, which is in the kind of the middle of the map. Kill 20 Jackal snipers, and that will unlock the skull once you do that. Rescue all trapped warthogs, which there's 2. There's one on the west side of the map, and then there's one set on the west side, and there's one set on the east side. And then you have destroy the Covenant methane refinery, which is on the west as well. Part-time is 15 to 30 minutes, which is totally reasonable. That was one of the things that makes Halo Wars a more approachable real-time strategy game, is that the missions were a lot shorter than some of the other traditional real-time strategy games that were out there at the time. And then scoring goals. So scoring goals, gold is 70,000 plus, silver is 50,000 up to 70, bronze is 30,000 up to 50, and then tin is 0 up to 30,000 points. The theoretical best score is 103,200. So that's the best score you could get. While we're talking about, I think this is the time. Let's talk about now, because we just listed off the scores. What did you guys get? Did you write it down? What you got?
Damn it, Colin! I thought I could get a bit more time. I'm just booting up now.
Oh, you were.
I just got mine up. I actually just screenshotted the first couple missions because I knew I'd forget to do it. So I got 34,000 on the second mission. 34,086.
Oh, I'm way
34,000. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I just did it recently. I didn't write it down, but I know I got gold. I got like 72,000.
You did all the objectives and stuff, eh?
I did all the objectives.
Yeah.
I actually ran through the mission a couple times. I did it. I found out like the bad way to do it, and then I was like, wait a minute, there's got to be an easier way.
Okay, you gotta show me the bad way.
The first time was like, I think I got 10 when I finished the mission, and then I played through it a couple more times, and I was able to get gold on heroic. So I felt good about that. I played it through on Legendary, was able to beat it, but I ended up getting like somewhere in the silver range.
Yeah. That's usually what you get.
So you don't have to play and beat the mission on Legendary in order to achieve gold, which is great.
Oh God, I got way more than I thought. I got 57,000.
Whoa!
Oh, nice. Okay. So you beat Krysta. I was the winner.
Damn.
Victorious. Okay, so let's talk about now what is on the battlefield. Krista's going to kind of go through what's in our toy box, Krista.
Oh my gosh. This game gives you way more in your toy box than I remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you get things way earlier in this game than I
think it's the second. I think the second one kind of drip feeds it to you for the first couple missions, which I find actually really annoying because we all have kind of a strategy that we kind of take to every single major mission. So I like to just get into that groove right away with these kind of games. So of course we have our beautiful fire base. It has 4 pads on it. Amazing, but you can upgrade it to 6 pad, or is it 7? Is it 2 is it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Is it 7 pads?
Oh shoot, I have the guy.
I think it's 8. I think it might be 8. It's like 2 on each side and 3 at the back.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you get 8 when you upgrade it. You get a supply pad, which is amazing. It's your basic resources that you can kind of start collecting. And if
I will just want to say here, that mechanic is really the simplest thing that makes this game kind of work, because the resource gathering is automatic and constant.
It's
and
very
pretty
nice.
much it plays into the mechanic of turtling, where all you got to do is sit and wait and you're going to make money.
Yeah.
And then that's all you need. And I like the simplification of that. I know you can get way in depth into some RTSs and just resource management. But I do love in this game that it is as simple as it is.
Yeah.
That really stands to
Well,
it.
and it allows you to go out and do objectives while still gathering resources.
Yeah.
So you can go and do the
fortress-
extra stuff.
Sorry, the fortress is 7 building pads.
7?
So there you
Okay.
go. Yep. Confirmed.
Confirmed. So you get the supply pad, you can upgrade it to a heavy supply pad. My favorite thing in this game is just watching those numbers get faster and faster and faster.
It's very
my
true.
god, it's the best. You have the reactor, which is kind of your power. It allows you to kind of get different upgrades and stuff like that. You can also upgrade that to so it gives you like 1 lightning bolt for 1 reactor, and when you upgrade it, you get 2 lightning bolts.
2 lightning bolts?
What? But it's super expensive to upgrade the reactors, so I usually don't do that right away.
Mm-hmm.
And you got
you're better off just to build another one.
You really are.
It's
You really,
cheaper.
unless you really need 3 lightning bolts to get some kind of upgrade, it's not really worth upgrading a second reactor and just letting your money just gather. You have 4 turrets on your fortress, so you can have a basic turret, or you can upgrade it to a flame turret, which is for infantry, rail turret for vehicles, and a missile launcher for air. So, based on what mission we're playing, you kind of change up the turrets depending on what you're going up against.
Yep.
For this one, like, no one attacked my base, so I just had the regular ones.
And you're playing a normal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's heroic. They drop
I
off
think
a bunch of Covenant nearby. There's some spirit dropships that come in and like plop some hunters
that
right in
happened
front
to
of you.
me on normal.
Yeah, that
Oh,
happened to
good.
me too, yeah. It just wasn't very frequent. It wasn't frequent
Gotcha.
enough to warrant upgrading a turret.
Gotcha.
Okay, the next thing we have is the barracks. So these kind of buildings allow you to kind of build specialized units. So the barracks are kind of your Marines and stuff like that. And then you also have a vehicle depot. I bet you can guess what that makes.
Vehicles. Although you can't build a warthog from it.
No, you build the Warthog from the fire base itself.
Which is weird.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably just to allow you to get it at the very beginning to scout. I think that I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what they do it for you.
That's also a pretty nice unit to have. Of course, you have Forge, which is your hero, which means he can be revived if he dies and stuff like that. But
his warthog doesn't get revived, right?
Nope, his Warthog does not come back. I think you can do an upgrade where you can start getting Gauze Hogs and have him go back in one, but I don't remember for certain. But
oh really?
I think so.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. So once Forge loses his Warthog, you don't have that Gauze Hog anymore, which makes it a little interesting when it comes to strategizing. Because if he gets low on health, you obviously want to.
So what happened?
Him.
Does he?
He's got a shotgun.
So is he just like a human?
Yeah.
That runs around.
He's a powerful.
Oh, I
dude.
never knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I didn't
If I
keep
did, I don't
too close an
remember
eye on
that.
him because I think my Goshawk got taken down at one point in one of my missions.
And you're
Or
just
on my
selecting
playthroughs.
all units the entire time anyway.
Yeah, for the most part in this mission. I did split things up. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
All right. So some of the units you can make are Warthogs, which is from the fire base itself, Marines, which is from the barracks, Flamethrower Marines, which is from the barracks.
Flamethrower? Tell me more about these
They
flamethrower
are...
guys. They're like mini Master Chiefs, or what are they?
No, they're just dudes with a flamethrower.
Oh, okay.
But they're good for infantry.
Yes.
So people with skin, it helps.
Mm-hmm. We've never seen flamethrower outside of Master Chief.
No, we have not. So it's interesting. So
that's kind of fun.
They exist. They're cool.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is my favorite. From the vehicle depot, you can make scorpions.
I've heard of those.
That's the only thing I made. And then you can make this thing called a Cobra, which is kind of a new vehicle. I didn't really use it. Did either of you guys use it?
I totally forgot it existed until I started this game again.
Yeah, me too.
And even when I originally played it, I don't think I used this vehicle a whole lot.
It's like, just go for straight for the Scorpion.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll make one every once in a while, because like when you see it, you're like, oh, I got to build one of those, because it costs three lightning bolts. It must be amazing.
No, don't get that third.
The Warthog is only a 2 lightning bolt build, but yeah, it's not really great in this mission. It is super powerful against other vehicles, and its power. When you hit on the keyboard, I hit R to like use a special ability. It'll the wheels tuck underneath, and then it'll stick out some legs to stabilize it, and then it'll shoot this really powerful I don't know, is it a rail gun of some sort? I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it has a really powerful blast that can take things down pretty quickly, but then it's like stationary, so then you have to undo the kind of lockdown for it to then come back up and be able to roll around.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually a familiar enough unit type. If I played a lot of Command & Conquer as a kid, there are multiple units throughout that series that do this. Mm-hmm. They have like, some of them don't even do anything until you stop and plant the legs, and then it becomes something. So this is a fairly common thing that you would see.
The animation's cool because it has like these two guns in front of it, and then when it locks down, the guns go together, and then it fires. It's a cool looking unit, but it's not super helpful in this mission.
No, it's anti-vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally useless in this mission, unfortunately. We're introduced to the Spirit of Fire's ability, which is just heal and repair. So you can plop that right down on your units, and they will be healed and repaired. Very
it has
nice.
a little green glowing thing that, a little area of effect that you gotta have to tuck everybody into. It's like if you get a little straggler, he's not getting healed. It's like, no, buddy, come on.
Yeah, it's like,
come on,
it's right there. You can see it.
You're like a foot away.
And then we have some Covenant units. We have the Elites, Grunts, and Jackals. We have Shade Turrets and Towers. We have the Spirit Dropships that kind of come to your base every once in a while and drop a couple guys. And then someone's like, your base is under attack. And I'm like, there's like 4 turrets there. It's fine. We have the Hunters, which... pretty much act like hunters. And then we have ghosts, which are fun. Yeah,
the hunters F you up pretty good.
They really do.
They come in.
Yeah, they do. They're hardcore.
So you missed the most important one at the very end.
Ghosts. And locusts. Ooh.
Yeah. You don't see locusts unless you super uber turtle. One of my playthroughs, I went up to the main base because I was like one of my first playthroughs. I'm just gonna like build everything, and then we're gonna go strike. I think I went left for a little while, then I went right for a little while, and then I went up to the middle finally. And that Covenant base in the middle was like all decked out. It had a shield on it. It had like 4 locusts just sitting there waiting for me. I'm just like,
nice.
See, you need to the thing about turtling is you need to turtle with all of the bases. You need to have, like, that crazy supply coming in, and then you start turtling once you take over all the bases.
Right.
The Covenant just build High Charity. They're like, You took so long, High Charity's just built on Harvest.
It was like, bring it. Let's go. Yeah, that was a surprise. I forget. I might have just lost that one. I don't know. I ran my army at them a couple of times. But locusts are powerful. Like, I love the design, too, because they're, like, mini...
Scarabs.
What is it? Scarabs, yeah. Many scarabs with 4 legs.
I do love them. I think they're great.
And they are completely they're mostly anti-vehicle, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. They're super cool though.
We've never seen them in a FPS game.
No, and
they'd be great.
they're one of the units from Halo Wars that I think I really think about a lot, and it's one of those ones that because like some of them are so forgettable, but this one's really cool, and you kind of see it in extended lore every once in a while. A locust pops up. Yep. It's really cool. I love it.
Wasn't there a locust in Meridian Divide?
Yes, there was.
One of those.
There was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're very cool. Love me some locusts. All right, cool. Thank you, Krysta, for running through that. Now let's get into the mission. I guess I just did want to mention. So there's modifiers for the score. I should have mentioned this earlier, but so on easy, the modifier, it says all enemy units have 50% less health, so it's easy, and inflict 50% less damage. There's no hunters. Jackal snipers are greatly weakened, and there are fewer pre-placed units. So the Covenant kind of has to build up their units versus having them just on the map to start. Heroic, the modifier is there's more spirit attacks on Alpha Base, which I definitely felt playing on Heroic, and there are some more shade turrets that are erected around the map. Did you guys not run into shade turrets then?
A couple.
Okay, so
one or two. I think there's one or two already pre-built on the map.
Okay. Legendary is all enemy units have 25% more health and inflict 25% more damage, and then it has more shade turrets around.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
Right, and it wasn't terrible, but it was definitely doable. So that's kind of all the background of the mission. Let's get into it. I kind of broke this down in my own in my mind after playing through the mission a couple times. There's 4 stages, I would say. It's like there's this initial build stage where you're doing the tutorial and stuff like that. That's most missions. Well, these missions actually throughout Halo Wars, they vary up pretty good, especially the next mission. But there's the initial building up your fire base stage, and then the second stage is kind of like, okay, let's go explore. We can go to the west, we can go up the middle, we can go up and to the right. So there's lots of things that you can do, and then there's the base in the middle, which you can either find very quickly or you can kind of explore around and come across it later on. And then I have kind of the final push, which is once you've made it through that final shield barrier towards the top of the map and are going to take out the detonator. How are you building? What did you do, Krysta, right away? Did you what's your initial build kind of look like?
It's usually so it was the vehicle depot, I have it right in front of me and I can't remember it. The vehicle depot, the barracks, and then I did I think 1 reactor and all the rest supply pads, and then upgraded those. Yeah, I upgraded those as fast as I could. I upgraded the fire base as fast as I could. And then
So are you waiting around a little bit with your armies? Are you sending Forge and his boys off around the map while you're kind of building things up? I
wait a little while, but I don't like 100% turtle. I kind of I build up, I get the upgrades on my base high enough and enough. Like maybe what the count is 30 units, I think.
Yep, 30.
So I think I got to 20 and I started sending people out because that's when I was starting to build scorpions and stuff. And once those roll out, I just have them join up with the main party as I go.
Okay.
And then the next thing I pretty much did, I got the warthogs and then I just tackled that Covenant base.
So you mean you rescued the warthogs?
Yeah, I rescued the warthogs.
Yeah.
And then
got on both sides. You went to go get the ones on the left. Did you guys know, or David? Did you go? So if you exit out the west of the base, there's a little drop pad or a supply pad that you can kind of clear out, and then Serena will bring you a warthog and then a bunch of Marines too, which is pretty handy.
Oh, I think I did find that.
Yeah, I love those things in games like this, and one of my favorite things to do is get myself maxed out in my population and then go do those recruiters, because then you go over the max limit.
Yes.
I like doing that too, yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do. I like seeing one number being bigger than the number it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I broke the game.
By the time I got the warthogs.
40, I bet.
Oh yeah, by the time I got the warthogs, I was at 35, I think.
Yeah. Yep, that's about the number I was at too. Back to the building up the base. I love the animation. The whole animation thing is
yes,
awesome.
It's so
It's
cool.
like, so if the spirit of fire is what brings in the fire base itself. So like it airlifts it in, it plops it down, and then
that whole thing is awesome of how they link the base to the ship. You always feel like there's the ship there supporting you, which is such a great achievement in this game. It's so cool.
Yep. And then it like welds the two pieces together, and you can see it going together. And then I guess once it's together, then the rest of the base kind of appears, and that's fine, I guess. But then I love when you build like the supply pads and the barracks, they like come out of the ground slowly.
Well, and also there's constant animation on like the supply pads, like pelicans are constantly taking off, and there's just it feels like a hustle and bustle in the base.
Yep, absolutely. It's very good. What else was I going to mention? When you play on multiplayer, because I've been doing that a little bit, just the skirmish mode against computer, the base building is a lot slower. Really? And it's probably more in line with like a 1v1 or a multiplayer type experience. So whereas like the supply pads pop up pretty quick, the supply pads in the buildings, like it's like maybe they start way down lower in the ground or something, but for them to rise up takes a lot longer in multiplayer.
Just a longer animation, so you're slower to build. Is that what?
Yeah, it's a slower startup, and there's probably some balancing stuff that they were trying to implement, whereas they were making the campaign a little bit snappier for a lot of. I mean, there's tons of casuals. I'm a total casual from RTS.
Yeah,
I played
me too.
enough of them, but they they didn't want that barrier to entry to be as rough. Because they knew that they're getting a lot of Halo fans that just like want another Halo experience that haven't played these games before.
Well,
so
and competitive Halo has always been a thing, so they had to be ready for competitive Halo wars in some regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. All right, so we have this initial build. David, do you do anything differently? Are you sending your troops out sooner?
I did actually go pretty early, kind of clear the main areas. I like going kind of troop heavy. I do like the Marines and stuff like that, and getting them leveled up with rocket launchers and grenades and stuff. I always think that's really cool.
Oh, so you're okay. You're paying for the modifications before you're sending them out?
No, as I'm doing it really. With these missions, I'm not turtling that much, to be honest. I'm like building up, and then as I go, I'm just kind of replacing losses and stuff. And the leader power is pretty useful because it's a heal, so that'll heal your unit up. But it doesn't revive the lost Marines in the unit, but it does make the unit's health bar go max. So you'll end up with like 2 Marines maybe with a full health bar. So I always thought it's a weird mechanic. It won't put out the same damage, but it just looks weird. It's cool. It's just a funny little thing to notice. That's pretty much what I did.
Okay.
I kind of forgot that you could get Scorpion so early in the game, so I expected this map to be troop heavy Warhogs kind of stuff. And then when you built the vehicle, I was like, holy crap, they're giving me Scorpions in the second mission. Hell yeah. So that's where all my points went then after that.
How many Scorpions were you rolling with, like, at one point?
I only had about 3, I think. Because I was already over the population max, so I was waiting for things to die so I could build more Scorpions.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Krista, how many were you rolling with? Do you remember?
Oh, I had like 4 or 5, and then I did...
Scorpions?
Oh, no. Scorpions, I had like maybe 6.
6 Scorpions? That's like your entire army.
Yeah, pretty much. I just let anytime enough people die for me to build another Scorpion, I just build another Scorpion.
You're just rolling heavy with Scorpions.
It's so much fun, though. It's like seeing all these Scorpions like come up to the Covenant, and you're like, you are fucked. There's no way you're living. There's like 20 Scorpions.
Were you upgrading their abilities too? So there's the canister shell ability that you can upgrade to, and it hits way harder, right?
I don't think I actually got to the point where I needed to upgrade them. I think by the time I had like 6 Scorpions, I pretty much won. The game's like, all right, please stop.
Sure. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so Krysta, you said you went and got the Warthogs on the west and on the east, and then you attacked the center?
Some of the units attacked the center, and some of the units went off after the Warthogs, because the Warthogs, on normal, the Warthogs aren't super heavily guarded.
Yeah, no, there's just like a little generator there. There's a barrier, a little generator there. One funny story for when I was going to get the Warthogs on the east. I sent in at one, and again I played through it a couple times. So one of my stories from doing this is I sent in just a flamethrower unit in by himself because that's all I had available at the time. I sent in one. I had like a warthog or two waiting outside the barrier. On the inside, there's the grunt and elite kind of squad that's just sitting there guarding the generator. My flamethrower just walked through the barrier, sat there, and just melted the generator. The two were just watching him do it the entire time.
They're like, he's got it.
We'll see if this works. He goes in, he melts the generator by himself, and then the other warthogs wake up finally, and then that's when the Covenant, the little squad, reacts. So I thought that's clearly a little glitch or something. Something didn't happen where they didn't get in their little halo of reactiveness. But that was fun to see because I was trying to beat the mission in a hurry, and kind of get all the objectives. And I was like, okay, well, let's just see if this works, and it worked brilliantly, even though it was kind of a broken way of beating that or completing that objective. Did you guys then also do the methane refinery on the west?
No, I didn't.
I did.
David, you did?
I did, yeah. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, that's fun to kind of go through. And it's fun callback, or just I guess it makes sense within Halo, right? Because the methane refinery is for all the grunts.
Yep.
Because they breathe.
They have to breathe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And there is, in fact, a achievement called Endless Fun for getting them all.
Oh, okay. I must have popped that already because it didn't pop when I was playing. Nice. So let's see here. So you have the reinforcements that Serena gives you. You have the warthogs that are off onto the side. So lots of found units here. And then the black box is on the top, kind of the northwest side of it. And there's another barrier that you have to get through to just go grab the black box. There's a jackal up there that's just, being annoying that you have to take out. How did you guys take care of all the jackal snipers? Did you...
Rocket launchers.
Yeah.
Because when they're up there, if you just one marine unit against them, the jackals will take them out pretty quick.
Well, and also your units don't seem to automatically attack them either. You kind of have to tell them to do it. Yeah.
I found that, and again, playing through a couple times, I found that instead of sending everybody, because a lot of times, towards the end of the mission, you're just rolling with everybody. You're just doing all units. I would find it more success just sending them to a random point and then letting them decide who to shoot versus me directing everybody over to the jackal or then everybody over to the turret. They seemed to do a pretty good job of focusing on one of the I guess the threats that were around them. Did you guys have that same experience?
What I'll do is if I have all my units in one place and I want one unit to attack the hunters and the other unit to attack a wraith. Mm-hmm. I just kind of do my picker because it's kind of like an ever-increasing circle that you pick people with. And I'll just put that slightly away from my people so I catch, the edge of part of my team, and that's what I'll use.
Oh, okay.
I do that sometimes, too, as well, yeah.
Yep. Were you guys, and so I think I said in the last mission, I'm trying to get better at RTSs. Usually I'm just an all-unit guy or local unit guy. So I did do some of the grouping. Yeah. Did you guys mess around with that at all?
Yeah, I love the grouping.
I kind of forgot it existed. I don't know, does it exist on the...
Yeah, it does. I think it's one of the triggers that you use. But it's nice for those barriers and stuff, because only, Marines can go through the barriers. So you can just select the Marines to go do that.
If it's what I think you can if you double click on a unit, it clicks all the unit of that type. Mm-hmm. Am I right? Is that the grouping?
So you can select, only Marines or only Warthogs. Or you actually
manually set a group.
Oh, okay. So it's different on PC, and I'm not sure if you can do it on controller. Is I could select all the different units that I wanted, and then set them to group 1, and then I could select a bunch of other units and make them group 2 or 3. So I got to have a bunch of different groups out there, and then I could I could decide which units. Maybe I built another Marine. I could say, okay, I'm going to select him and then add him to group 1, and then he'll go and join that group.
I think that's
what most PC RTSs are that. Okay. They would have group boards that work that way.
I think it's too high level for controller.
Console, yeah.
Maybe it is, yeah.
You don't have numbers to assign or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
You really need that for that type of grouping. But I would prefer it because that is how, back in my RTS days, I went into the minutiae of, really handpicking what is within each groups, and like each group had a specific function of like your anti-infantry, your anti whatever it was. Let's say whatever game RTS I was playing. So I used to like micromanage my groups.
Yeah, and I think you have to. I mean, it's the point, right? Especially on higher levels and probably further advanced missions. So I'm glad that I figured that out, because I think that'll come in handy as the campaign unfolds. Any other stories or like, so David, how did you go when you approached the base in the middle? Did you take it out pretty easily? Was it built up pretty strong, or where was it at?
No, I found it pretty early, and the units that found it were not equipped to deal with it, so they got wiped. So I kind of forgot it was there, and I was and then they tell you it's like, oh, it's there, you can take it out, but it's not your objective. So I kind of left it alone for a while and kind of built up my units before I came back to it again. And then like I wiped it, and then of course one of the great mechanics of this game is that you can then take it for yourself and build up another fire base, which I love doing. So you pretty much do that and just put like all drop supply pads,
right.
Do you know what I mean, and just watch the money roll.
That's what I did. So I took Alpha Base and I changed it to only supply pads, and I moved all of the like better units, like the vehicle depot and stuff, to the new base because it's closer to the action.
Sure.
And then they have less to travel.
Yeah, less to travel to get places. Yeah.
I think what I did is I didn't like destroy any of my other buildings from Alpha Base. I just let that be as it was. But I think I built another supply pad, a vehicle depot, and then another reactor up there so that I could unlock any additional abilities.
Do you guys upgrade it?
3 lightning bolts. I think I did do a fortress
I
at one
upgraded
point.
mine too.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I did.
Yeah, it comes in handy. Because having the 7 pads versus the 5. But again, like you're kind of almost at the end of the mission too. So it's just like, do I want to wait for all of my units to come up and then make my attack, or do I want to like kind of have 2 things go on at the same time? It is handy having that second base though, for sure. So let me tell you, I had another fun story where I played it through the mission a couple times again, and the one that actually where I got my high score, I went and attacked the base like almost right away. So I was able to use, there's the down Pelican, and then there's the down Warthog kind of in the middle. And if you send your Marines and kind of snap them to them, it's pretty useful, and they will take way less damage.
Garrison?
Yeah. They'll take way less damage. So I took advantage of that and was able to clear out the towers that are right in front of there, and then there's a shade turret. So I was able to clear out like the little middle resistance from in the map. And then if you go further on, and then there's a couple of ghosts here that you got to clear out too. So I think I had a couple of warthogs with me right away. I had Forge, and his Gosshog kicks ass. A couple other warthogs and some Marines and some flamethrowers. So I cleared out that initial area. I was continuing to send some Marines as I could. I was spending my money pretty quickly here. The Covenant base was like barely built up at all. It just had like a turret or 2 and then a couple different buildings around it. And so I sent everybody I had at me at it at that time. I didn't have any Scorpion tanks. I didn't have anything. I had like 3, maybe 4th Warthog. The Covenant started sending some people out to stop me from my attack. But I was able to get it down to, just a sliver of health. Everybody was dead except for Forge. And it was just Forge, like his Gosshog just like pounding that thing, just like it was in its red health. It's pounding him like, come on, hold on. And he was almost dead. And then I think there was like a jackal shooting him in the ear or something like that. And then he finally took down the base at the end. And I was able to clear it out right away. Like, and that was within like the first couple minutes of the mission. That felt real good. Yeah. So you can do that right away, and I think that was the run. Again, I did a couple different runs, so that was the most effective. That's how I got my high score, is to go take that base right away, then build your second fire base in the middle, then go out and do all the objectives on the side. So then I went out and got the Warthogs on the east. Then I like split up my groups, went out, got the Warthogs on the east, sent another group to go out west, got the other reinforcements down at the supply pad, then brought everybody back together, and then made my final push at the end. Took me a couple of times to figure that out, but that was how I got my high score, and that felt really good to figure that out.
Nice.
Very nice. Any other thoughts before, or just kind of fun stuff before we make our final push? I feel like the final push is kind of boring because you have just this giant army and you just throw everybody up at it. So there's not a whole lot, at least.
That's how every mission
it
ends
really
in an
is.
RTS, man.
But it wasn't like, I feel like what I just described with the capturing that mental base, like that was more fun and exciting than this final push. And you do get a little thrill, like knowing, okay, there's the detonator at the end that I have to destroy. But you just overwhelm the covenant at the end, and it's never really a challenge. I guess it could be a challenge if you are trying to send an army up there that's only like 10 or 15 units strong. But if you're turtling enough to just make that final push, then you just kind of roll down.
Yeah, that's what happened with me.
Yeah. Any other fun stories or any other thing that you want to cover on the mission?
I'm good.
David?
No, I'm all good.
You're good. All right. I think overall it's a good mission. It's a good tutorial mission. I think I played this one playing like I always do, and coming back to Halo Wars, it's been a while. It's nice to be able to. It's approachable, right? And you can do it. You can have different levels of success, but making it through the mission and then getting like a bronze, you're like, oh shit, I can do this way better. It's a nice little carrot to like replay the mission and try to get more efficient at RTSs. Like some people will probably just want to go through the campaign, and that's fine. If you just want to experience the story and just barely beat the missions, you can definitely do that. But it also gives you that motivation to say, hey, I can be better at this. Because I think bronze is, what did I say it was? The score was like 30,000 or something like that, between 30 and 50,000. But like gold is like over double that. So there's got to be a more efficient way to do that. And knowing that the high score is like 100,000, I mean, that's the cool thing about these missions. And score is so much more integral a part of the game than it is in the FPS games. You have scoring and part times in the FPS games, but it's kind of an afterthought. It's there like only for the really, really hardcore players. Whereas here it's built into like what an RTS is, which I think is cool. Did you guys use that score as any motivation at all, David? Or once you beat it, did you? You didn't?
My motivation was studying for the mission.
Right. Going around making sure you know everything about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool. Anyway. So yeah, the final push is just destroy that detonator in the middle. There's usually a bunch of hunters down there. There's not a ton of unique Covenant units down there, but yeah, Serena will come in and say, hey, you got to destroy that one thing, and when you do it, then it ends the mission. Good times. Hooray, we did it. We beat the second mission, the second tutorial mission. Now things get interesting in the next one, and I didn't play it. It's been a while since I played it, but I didn't want to play it because I didn't want to get confused. But I do know they change things up quite a bit in this next mission, which is fun. All right, let's see. Do you have any more trivia or anything, David, to cover off on?
I do have a few small bits and pieces that I found. Like you said, the skull that you get is the Grunt Birthday Party one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's all the way back in the base, by the way. So once you beat your jackals, the 20 jackals, just send one unit or just build one unit, and you go down to the kind of the south end of the base, and it'll be floating down there.
During the talk between Captain Cutter and Anders on board the Spirit of Fire in the intro, a Hornet can be seen below, which is the first and only time a Hornet is seen in the CG cinematics, and it's the first time it's seen in space. So I thought that was interesting because I didn't think it was a spacefaring vehicle.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. The shields that the Covenant have put up can be destroyed without destroying the power source. If you build at least 5 Cobras, lock them down, in order them to attack the power source, the shields will eventually be destroyed. So that's just a mechanic. Achievement I covered, and the opening. This is really, really nerdy, which is why I put it in here. The opening cutscene portrays a Sangheili anatomy incorrectly.
Oh.
Halo 3 established that a Sangheili blink with their transparent nictitating membranes in a left to right movement, not as to not interfere with their vision. But when Ripa looks at the cliff, he closes his eyelids like a human would in a top-down movement.
Interesting.
Which is apparently incorrect. Yeah,
he still looks beautiful.
He's very beautiful.
Yes, he does. He can blink at me all day long.
Exactly.
Just stare at me, please. Let me see your
Give me the eyes.
incorrectness.
All right, let's do a quick black box reading. The
All
one that we unlocked.
right. Not the beautiful BB that we know, but another BB.
No.
But, February 7th, 2531, Spirit of Fire holds service for the crew of the Prophecy. The crew roster is read despite objections from Oni personnel. The Prophecy was lost with all hands on a first expedition to Harvest to investigate the Covenant interest in the artifact found in the polar region. R.I.P. guys. Do you think Hood just does the exact same Halo 3 speech for everything? Like, that's his speech? We go into the howling darkness and come back and, like...
Is Hood in place at this point?
Yeah. Oh, Hood's been in place for a long time.
Dang. He is pretty
He's
wrinkly
old,
in the Halo 2.
He's an old boy.
He is. Just got in that spot and sat there forever.
Kinda. It's like normal American politicians.
Yeah, exactly.
Just get old
Rise
and
to
wrinkly
power.
in the seat.
Exactly. We're just waiting for them to die.
So the next old wrinkly person can come in.
Exactly.
Oh.
All right. That's interesting. So they went to say the prophecy, which we talked about, and then they lost all hands. It's sadness. Sad times. All right. Let's do community, and we'll get out of here.
Woo!
Dave, what do you got? Facebook.
I'm ready this time with the correct one, the one I tried to read last time. So Colin Perkins, January 10th. Your new military base was airlifted from Spirit of Fire, fused together by the UNSC best engineers, and pumps out Covenant killing machines. Needs a name. What is it? Question for mission debrief Halo Wars Relic Approach. Got some good responses in here today, so thank you very much, guys. Thomas Viscident says Alpha Base, she ain't gonna fall this time, boys. With
Nice.
my faith. And the Matthew says Star Killer Base. Pretty cool. Chad says Kraken Base.
Good.
Lucas says the game because you're all gonna lose.
Ooh.
Look at that guy. He's so cool. Patrick says Johnson Base so that the brutes know that they are about to get bombed. Manny says W. Jenkins Base so I can bombard the enemy with never-ending Marines. Hoorah!
Is it Jenkins?
Yeah,
Nice.
W.
That's callback to CE, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Timothy Welch says the Hive. I think it's pretty cool. Chris says Forward Operations Base Splitjaw. FOBS for short, which is actually really cool. So, Fobs. And we have Randy, which says the Ace of Base.
Yes.
The whole time we'd be in the base, we would have their album play on repeat.
The
I love
Ace of Base. That one? Yeah? Ace of Spades?
Yeah, that's it. The Ace of Spades, yeah. That's
Okay.
All right. Very nice.
Same-
Discord.
Alright, same question for Discord, but just a little more crazy put in here. Dizzy Bumper says Bassy McBaseface, a classic.
Oh, there we
Very
go.
nice.
Or Based Bass, or Dizzy Bass. That's what he says. Alright, Dezudo says third base, Winky Face.
Yeah, I like that one.
He also says, oh god, Parangoski's womb. Please, no. I don't want to picture that. No.
That's amazing.
That's not a safe place
It's not
to
a
be.
safe place to be. You do not want to
my
be
God.
there.
Get out of her womb. Oh my god.
Matt says, God's own anti-son of a bitch machine. I think that's another Johnson quote, right?
Yeah.
Min says the Skyhold. Dizzy Bumper says daddy.
Just daddy.
Just daddy. Moonseal says Firebase unyielding rage. Very good.
Cool.
Shadow of Oni says Avery Johnson and Johnson's wart remover 9000.
Nice. I like it.
Oh god. Alright, Homosh says fire base buttery biscuit base. Okay. Bartlett King says no treble.
Yeah. Very good.
And finally, third says best foot forward base. And this is very nice. Thank you. Thank you for not being too crazy, Discord. We love you.
That's right. And thank you for joining. That'll do it for our debriefing of the Relic Approach mission from Halo Wars. On the next episode, we'll be covering Relic Interior. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved.
Evolved.